If you're an aspiring content creator who only has one single platform on either Instagram or TikTok, you may want to reconsider this. Relying on one social media platform in general can be risky, but in my personal opinion, I believe it's even riskier to rely on either Instagram or TikTok as a content creator. And in this video today, I'm going to be talking about why I think that is and what you can be doing instead to avoid relying on just one of these platforms. But for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kaylee and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. But I'm also a content creator and I started this channel a few years ago to talk about all things business, social media, freelancing, and content creation. And as I mentioned, today's video is going to be about why I would personally not rely on Instagram or TikTok as a full-time content creator. Now, to start this video off, I'm going to mention that I have a TikTok account, I have an Instagram account, I actually have several Instagram accounts for several of my different kind of brands. I usually do these kind of recaps for a lot of my videos on my channel, so if you haven't seen these before, I have several brands that I work with online. So I have my photography brand, which is Kaylee June Photography. I have an Instagram and a YouTube channel underneath that brand. I also have Kaylee June Creative, which is this channel. This is all about business and freelancing and content creation. So I actually just have a YouTube channel for this brand at the moment. And then I also have a travel vlogging channel with my partner Dan, and I also have an Instagram that links in with that, along with a TikTok as well. So I've definitely had my fair share of social media sites over the years, and I do feel like I've had a lot of experience across the main three, which would be TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And I've definitely noticed a few things in particular with short form platforms, which have made me realize that I would probably never rely on them by themselves as a full-time content creator. And I think this is for several different reasons, which I am going to go through in this video. So jumping into the first reason as to why I would not rely on just Instagram or just TikTok as a content creator, and that is because I believe that short form content can also equal short attention spans. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case for everyone and every situation. Of course, there are going to be exceptions, but in general, one thing I have found with short form platforms such as Instagram and TikTok is that people's attention spans tend to be a lot more minimal with these platforms. This can be a problem for several reasons. For example, I really believe it can prevent people at times from really getting to know you as a person, from really getting to know you as a creator well enough. And I think that that can be a problem with short form because the nature of those platforms is to scroll and basically to move on very quickly from your content to someone else. So I do believe that that can be an issue and a barrier into really getting your work out there to the point where people appreciate you, they really understand you as a creator, they know who you are a little bit more, and I feel like it's harder to grab people's attention spans as well. I always find the content that I have to make on TikTok and Instagram has to be super engaging and super intense a lot of the time to really hold people's attention spans, which can be frustrating because I feel like it's not always the content that you want to post. I feel that platforms like YouTube can be a lot more flexible with this, and you tend to find that people do have longer attention spans for longer content. Not to say that it's a lot easier to run a YouTube channel than an Instagram or TikTok and build a community here. I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier, but I would say that it's more worthwhile after a long period of time. Especially with my main photography channel and my Instagram, I can see the major differences that I've had over the last 10 years of running both of them, and I do find that I have had subscribers on YouTube stick around for the last 10 years, whereas my Instagram account, I think I'd be hard pressed to say people from even 5 years ago would be even interested in the things that I'm posting today. So I do find like Instagram as a platform and TikTok as a platform is a lot more fickle in that way, and it is harder to grab people's attention and to keep it. Now, the next reason may not apply to everyone, especially if you're living in the US, but for me in Australia, it definitely applies. And the next point is that you're not able to earn money from the output of content that you upload to Instagram or TikTok. So what I mean by this is directly earning money from the content you're posting. Now, TikTok does have a creator program, and that's available to US citizens as far as I know, but as Australians and a lot of the rest of the world, unfortunately, we are not able to make money from posting content to TikTok. The same goes for Instagram posts and Reels. Unfortunately, here in Australia and a lot of other places in the world, we are unable to make money directly from posting content there. And unfortunately, I have heard that people who have even made money through these programs haven't always earned a lot. And I think obviously with platforms like YouTube, it's great because if you can get your channel monetized, obviously there are barriers to entry with this, but if you can get your channel monetized, you are able to directly make money from the content that you're posting here. So I definitely feel like you're at least being rewarded in some way. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know that you're actually getting some money just from posting content each month. Unfortunately, at this current stage, Instagram and TikTok, that's not really possible. possible for people who aren't living in the US. The third reason I'd never rely on these platforms is that I believe the algorithm is more volatile. So I feel that the algorithms with TikTok and Instagram are constantly changing. And I feel like this has screwed over a lot of creators in the past where they've been doing really well on the platform, and then a few things have changed with the algorithm. Suddenly they're not doing well anymore. Suddenly people aren't seeing their posts. Suddenly they've lost a bunch of brand deals and all the rest of it that come along with not getting the same kind of traction that you were. And that's not to say that this doesn't definitely happen on YouTube, because it absolutely does, and the algorithm does change every so often. I would say though that it doesn't change as frequently as Instagram and TikTok. And I do think that at least with your subscriber base on YouTube, I tend to feel like it's not as dramatic, the dips and the rises on YouTube. I feel like there's a little bit more stability there with the algorithm, whereas Instagram and TikTok, as I mentioned, can be like a weekly thing where things are changing and things are going up and down. And one minute you think you've got it with Instagram or TikTok, with traction, with getting views, with getting followers, growth, and then all of a sudden it stops and then it's stagnant for several months. And I must say that as someone who's been on YouTube for many years now and had different YouTube channels, I don't think that's ever really happened to me where I've just like stopped having views at all or stopped having any growth with subscribers. I would say that there has been periods of time where it has been slower, and I've spoken about this on my channel in the last few months where I felt like YouTube wasn't recommending some of my videos on this channel. So I was definitely seeing a drop in views, but I was still getting views. It wasn't like an immediate stop and halt of everything or any of my growth here on YouTube. So I do think it's less noticeable with YouTube and platforms like this as opposed to Instagram and TikTok. The next point is that I feel like there's less potential for higher earning brand deals as a small creator. Now, I definitely think that Instagram and TikTok are really the home of UGC, which is user generated content, and a lot of smaller creators can really tap into that and earn money from that. So that is great, and that's one thing I love about those platforms. Even though YouTube does have that available as well, I feel like it's not as much utilized by brands as Instagram and TikTok. Having said that, I've felt over the years that Instagram and TikTok compared to YouTube in terms of brand deals, you sort of can't even compare them as a small creator. Like, some of the brand deals I've had through YouTube have been so much more stronger and better earning over the brands who have contacted me for Instagram and TikTok. I've just found in general that brands do not want to pay as much for those platforms, and I really don't feel that having 100,000 subscribers on YouTube is the same thing as having 100,000 subscribers on TikTok or Instagram. I do feel like there's a big difference there, and I think that reflects in how brands often approach for brand deals and what you're earning from them. YouTube, being a long-form content platform, really offers you the ability to do things with brand deals that you're not able to do on Instagram and TikTok anyway. So, for example, if you're wanting to do an ad integration in your videos on YouTube or a dedicated video, I feel like you can't do these things in the same way on short form platforms. And obviously, if you're showcasing a product on here, you're potentially doing it for a lot longer. So that is usually going to earn you a little bit more money. And obviously, for the time it takes to make a YouTube video over an Instagram or TikTok video, you generally will earn more from YouTube brand deals in that sense. Number 5 is that I really feel like it's harder to get people away from the platform. So whether that be Instagram or TikTok, basically short form platforms in general. And I say this because it's hard as a content creator when you're not wanting to put all your eggs in one basket. So, you create a website, you might create a mailing list, you might create a blog, you might create a YouTube channel, but I do find it is often hard to get people away from short form platforms to actually go and check those other things out. I feel like it's less so with YouTube, and I feel like people are more willing to navigate away from the platform. Instagram and TikTok are well known for both being pretty addictive platforms, so it is harder for people to navigate away and to actually leave the platform itself to go and check out your other content, I think, a lot of the time. Also, the links to your other sites are not as noticeable on short form platforms, and people really have to navigate away to your main profile page in the first place. So it's kind of like that extra step, whereas in YouTube videos, you can have everything listed in the description box just underneath the video, which is really great. So I do think it is harder to get people moving away from those platforms to go and check out your other stuff and to help grow your other platforms if you want to. And then the last reason is that I believe that TikTok and Instagram offer less dedicated audiences. So that basically means in general, I feel like your audience on Instagram and TikTok will often be less dedicated to your content and to you as a person. This kind of ties in with my first point, but I do truly believe that the engagement is a lot more genuine on YouTube and the interactions that you have here versus Instagram and TikTok, where a lot of the time people are just leaving an emoji and off they go. They really don't necessarily connect to your work. They don't necessarily connect to your brand very well, and I think that's just in general that happens. As I mentioned, there's always going to be exceptions, and that's not the case for every creator, but I do think that this happens more often than not with short form platforms over a long form one. And in turn, platforms like TikTok have actually been found to offer a lot less conversions with a lot of creators on this platform. So that's also something to keep in mind if you're going to be working with brands. A lot of the time you will find those audiences on those platforms are a lot less interested or dedicated to you as a creator. Well, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do, because I'll be posting a lot more in future. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think about this topic and whether you agree with some of those points, whether you feel that maybe YouTube has a better offering for creators overall. I would say, as a disclaimer with this video, I feel that YouTube obviously is a great platform for creators, but again, I wouldn't just rely on YouTube. I think it's great to have several social media platforms that you can rely on and sort of spread your audience across them all. But definitely feel free to put your opinions down below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and what platform you feel is the best for content creators, or whether you agree or not with this topic. Make sure to also hit the notification bell if you want to see more updates from this channel, and also let me know in the comments if you want to see anything in particular on my channel, because I'm always open to requests. But thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.